Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're unpacking an idea that could genuinely reshape your perspective. It's a philosophy with a really bold name. Die with zero.
Yeah.
And yeah, it pretty much flies in the face of everything we've been told about, endlessly saving for retirement. Our mission here is to explore the thinking of Bill Perkins. He's a super successful commodities trader turned author, and his whole thing is about optimizing our lives for fulfillment, for getting the most out of it, rather than just, piling up money. Talks about maximizing memory dividends. It sounds great, right? But it's not about being reckless. It's about being really intentional. Okay, so let's jump right in. Perkins puts it incredibly bluntly. I don't give a shit about saving. I don't give a shit about spending. I care about fulfillment and thriving. Oh, yeah. Now, for you listening, that probably sounds pretty wild, especially given the constant advice to save for your golden years. How does he justify that?
Well, it ties into another powerful quote he uses. We have two lives, and the second one begins when we realize we only have one. Basically, he's urging us to stop acting like we've got infinite time or like life's a video game with extra lives. It's about taking this one ride, as he calls it, seriously, going after what you really want and maybe caring a bit less about what everyone else thinks you should do.
Right. And he pushes that even further. He argues pretty provocatively that delayed gratification indefinitely is no gratification. Because, well, your body has a vote and it's going to decay. But hold on, isn't saving responsible? How do we balance that caution with this idea of thriving now?
That's the core tension, isn't it? The question becomes, is your saving driven mostly by fear? Fear of running out of money? Or is it actually optimized for fulfillment? Fear is useful for survival, keeps us safe, but it doesn't really help us thrive. Thriving, in Perkins' view, means using your health, your energy, your mental sharpness now, not holding back for some uncertain future where you might not even be able to enjoy things in the same way. Money, ultimately, is just a tool for fulfillment. It represents your time, your life energy. And if you don't actively use that tool, convert that time and money into experiences while you can really savor them.
Well, you're just hoarding tools you never use to build anything meaningful.
Wow, okay. And this thinking extends even to net worth. He suggests something completely counterintuitive, picking a date for your net worth to peak, and then intentionally letting it decline. That's the opposite of what most financial advisors say. Exactly. And putting that in context, the peak isn't really a dollar figure. It's a point in time. It's tied more to your biological age, your health span, than just the calendar year. Because the utility of money, your ability to turn it into enjoyable, meaningful experiences, that actually declines as you get older.
The utility declines.
Yeah, think about it. Physical limitations creep in, maybe your priorities shift. The sheer joy or impact of, say, a big trip might lessen if you have fewer years to look back on it or share those memories.
He uses some really vivid examples, doesn't he? Like asking if your parents, who might find a 10-hour flight really difficult, truly need more money, specifically for international travel at that stage. Or, thinking about whether your knees will let you walk 7 miles exploring Paris when you're 75 compared to what you can do right now. I feel that one already.
Precisely. And he's apparently into the quantified self movement, tracking his own health metrics. He uses that data to understand his personal decay curve, as he puts it, which helps him plan what he can realistically do and when. The goal isn't morbid, it's practical. Spend your resources, money, time, health before your ability to enjoy them fades. Before your body basically says, nope, can't do that anymore.
So how did someone who made so much money, in the high-pressure world of commodities trading, arrive at this philosophy? It wasn't just about being smart.
Right. He talks a lot about curiosity, but also stoicism, that mental toughness, being able to handle big losses, detach your ego from the outcome, learn from mistakes. That was crucial in trading. And interestingly, he credits his upbringing, post-civil rights era, with kind of inadvertently teaching him not to care what other people think, which sounds like it served him well in both trading and life.
Yeah, that makes sense. And there's that story he tells about feeling rich at 22, the day he made more than his mom, even while living at home. But his early spending was, like, autopilot rich, Vegas, fancy stuff, whatever was advertised. What actually changed his thinking?
A big turning point was reading Your Money or Your Life.
Oh.
At first, he went to the other extreme, super frugal, calculating, a coffee as 45 minutes of his life energy.
Wow, been there.
Yeah. But then he realized the book's deeper message wasn't just about the time-money trade-off. It was about the yield on fulfillment. That clicked. And it sparked the whole die with zero idea. He saw how the reward you get from money decreases as you age. And like he says, nobody says I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm 86. The goalpost felt wrong.
He's also really upfront about his financial failures, which is refreshing,
Mhm.
like buying luxury cars, a Lamborghini, a McLaren.
Yeah, and finding they felt, in his words, douchey to drive and couldn't even handle potholes in Houston.
Right? Or investing in indie films, where he actually expected to lose money, like a negative 33% return. He saw them as passion projects, not investments.
And those experiences, even the failures, taught him that just spending money doesn't guarantee fulfillment. You still need that intentionality. Access isn't the same as joy.
Okay, so this is all fascinating theory, but how can you, listening right now, actually apply this? Perkins does offer a kind of blueprint, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He outlines roughly 5 steps. First, and this might sound a bit heavy, but figure out your estimated death date. Use actuarial tables, talk to your doctor, get a realistic sense, and assess your current health honestly. It's not about being morbid, it's about being grounded.
Okay, so face reality first, then what?
Then, break your remaining life into chunks, maybe 5 or 10-year periods. And for each bucket, write down what you really want out of it. Spiritual goals, physical stuff, activities, travel, family milestones, seeing your kids start kindergarten, maybe learning French, whatever it is for you.
So you make a plan for experiences across different life stages.
Exactly, but it's not set in stone. He stresses that this plan needs updating. You need room for discovery because, as he says, life is discovery. You'll find new interests.
That makes sense. But what about that fear? The fear of spending down, of maybe getting the death date wrong.
Yeah.
That save, save, save programming runs deep for a lot of us.
Yeah.
How do you get past that?
Yeah, that's a big hurdle. He suggests making your finite time more tangible. Maybe use one of those life in weeks calendars, or even a clock that shows the percentage of your estimated life already passed. Sounds intense, but
But the idea is that awareness gives you courage.
courage to take life seriously, yeah. To actually use the money and time for experiences now. And for people with lower incomes, his advice is really focused. Prioritize health above almost everything else. Walking, hiking, diet, these things have a huge impact on fulfillment and often cost little. Then, make fulfilling choices within your means. Be creative.
So it's really about the quality of life, the fulfillment, not just the length. He even says it's okay to do unhealthy things sometimes if they bring genuine fulfillment, like a late night out with friends. That definitely pushes back against the constant optimization culture.
It does. It's about balance and what truly makes your life feel rich.
Okay, let's talk about money and happiness directly. Perkins says money can buy happiness, but there's a catch. What's his take?
He uses the analogy of tools. Money is like power tools for building a house. You need the tools, sure, but you also need to know how to use them to actually build the house, or in this case, a happy life. Just having a pile of money is like having a garage full of saws and hammers, but never building anything. You need the skill, the intention.
And the skill is figuring out what actually brings you joy.
Exactly. And recognizing that diminishing returns are super personal. What's enough money for one person isn't enough for another. It depends on your wants, your discoveries about what makes you happy.
He's got that great quote, travel is the only thing you can spend money on that makes you richer. And his own examples of high return spending often involve experiences with friends, right?
Right.
Board games, hikes, bike tours.
Yeah, even that expensive wake surf boat he mentions. He calls it a memory maker in spades.
Because it creates so many shared memories.
Precisely. He emphasizes that we're wired to connect. So many fulfilling things involve shared human experience. Those memory dividends from shared moments, they keep paying out long after the trip or the activity ends. They enrich your inner life. He loves big trips, Japan, Italy, Amsterdam for discovery, but he also stresses simple stuff. Hiking with friends is basically free and can be incredibly fulfilling.
Now, something a lot of financially savvy listeners might be thinking about is the FIRE movement. Financial independence, retire early. Seems like the ultimate savings goal for many. What does Perkins think about FIRE?
He has a nuanced view. He thinks FIRE is great for making people question mindless consumption, for challenging wasteful spending. That part he respects. But he's critical of what he calls the savings porn aspect, where accumulating money becomes the goal itself, an addiction almost. He argues that if you spend years in extreme frugality while you're in jail, as he puts it, real life, is just passing you by. He feels some FIRE followers lose sight of that original your money or your life message about values and fulfillment. They get obsessed with the nest egg, this number they might never actually spend down in a way that maximizes their enjoyment.
That leads to another really interesting point he made about allocating mental energy, our mental neurons. He questioned spending tons of brain power trying to save, say, a few $100 on a car deal versus focusing that same energy on significantly increasing your income.
Yeah, that's a provocative challenge. He asks, is the enjoyment of the hunt for small savings the absolute best use of your mental capacity, especially if you have skills or opportunities to earn much more?
So the opportunity cost of focusing on saving pennies.
Kind of. The question is, if you could redirect that focus and potentially earn, say, hundreds of thousands or even millions more over your career, wouldn't that give you more resources for fulfillment than clipping coupons? He suggests that for many people, maybe those with average intelligence and lots of hustle, there are often untapped ways to increase revenue. Over-indexing on tiny savings, especially if you have good earning potential, might just be, well, a misallocation of your most valuable resources, not just money, but your time and your mental energy.
It's all about being intentional with everything: wealth, health, and time. Wow. This has definitely given us, and hopefully you, a lot to chew on. It really challenges some deeply ingrained beliefs about money, saving, and living. Perkins is definitely pushing for intentionality.
Absolutely. And if you step back, the biggest question his philosophy leaves you with is one he can't answer for you. What is fulfilling? Because that's unique to each person. It's a journey of, as he calls it, continual discovery. You might discover you love pickleball, or a certain type of travel, or simply quiet time doing something creative. Life's about embracing that discovery process.
So the takeaway for you listening isn't necessarily to stop saving entirely tomorrow. It's more about thinking critically. How are you allocating your energy, your time, your money? Is it aligned with living your one life to the absolute fullest? Are you actively building those memory dividends? And maybe a final thought to consider. Make that distinction in your own life between survival and thriving. Once your basic needs, your survival are covered, are your choices really reflecting what you want from this experience? Or are you still operating out of fear for a future that might look very different and might have very different possibilities than today? What experiences are you putting off that might just not be the same or even possible later on?